our Halloween episode of No More Secrets. As always, I'm your aunt, Mary Albrecht.
And I'm your niece, Katie Forsyth.
Oh, yeah.
Uh,
Caught me off guard.
I know, I was hoping for that, actually.
This is our season opener, and she's married.
I am married, yes. I think we were talking about it at the end of last season and everything.
Yep.
To you guys, I will still be known as Katie Albrecht, but
She just
I wanted to make a little announcement about it.
That was cute. Yeah. That was cute. And speaking of her wedding, as you guys know,
you lost your clergy.
I was the Reverend. And
so that's why she's dressed
so
up.
I'm dressed for Halloween as a Reverend.
Yeah,
I made a collar out of paper and colored it in with a Sharpie. And this is my bathrobe on backwards.
Yeah.
And my clergy badge. And Katie just threw that thing on. It seemed a lot easier.
This is how I dressed for my wedding, too. So I thought it was appropriate if we just recreated it for you guys, you know?
Yeah, she did. She looked just like a pumpkin.
Right. More like Cinderella after the pumpkin.
It was so great. It was such a fun wedding. Everybody said it was a really, really good time. And
I had a great time, yeah.
And you soaked it up. You weren't, sometimes people miss it out because of the stress. Like they don't
get caught up
caught
up in the details and stuff. And
yeah.
I made a promise to myself that, I was obviously stressed beforehand. I think that was our very last episode, was me talking about how stressed I was. And I just made a promise to myself that I'm like, no matter what, I'm just going to enjoy and try to be present and there and enjoy the day,
Yeah.
And I think I accomplished that. I mean, I was a little anxious, a little nervous leading up to it.
Well, the whole day was so much.
It's just a lot, and it was like keeping people on schedule.
Yeah, because everyone else is wanting to just relax and party, and you're like trying to run the show.
Right. I was like, yeah, please relax and party, but let's hit our marks here, okay? And I think it went very smoothly, in general.
Yeah, it was. I mean,
most people were saying that, so I feel good about that.
One of the main comments from my peeps is how much Matt was smiling the whole time. Just
beaming.
He's
a happy little guy, huh?
He was just beaming, especially during that dance that you guys did, but even through the whole wedding itself.
Yeah.
He had that smile, that cute smile.
Yeah. The no
smile.
teeth.
But he was so happy
classic.
in the dance,
Yeah, I think he was very happy. I think we both were.
Couldn't believe it actually got there.
Yeah.
Meaning that we were actually at this place.
Right.
Finally, after a year and a half or 2 years of planning.
Close to 2 years of planning since we were engaged, because we got engaged December of 2020. So
yeah, coming up on 2 years from that.
Yes.
You started thinking about it right after that, right?
Yes.
Because you had to get a venue and.
I wanted to get ahead of it because I have a history of procrastination sometimes, and I didn't want to do that for this, and that was part of the reason why it was so stressing me out so much, because I was trying to be this like really organized
so not you, and especially
and
on a
decorative
girly
person,
girl
and I
stuff.
was like I'm so glad I did everything that I did, and I wouldn't change any of it, honestly, but it stressed me out.
It was a lot.
It stressed me out, yeah. And putting on an event that size, I give people props that work in the event industry or just wedding industry in general. It's
think about that.
Stressful, because I think, in my situation, I am generally pretty go with the flow with stuff, but there's people out there that aren't so much.
Yeah, well, you hear about
when it comes to weddings,
bridezillas or whatever, mothers of the bride,
Yes.
That can be really, and your mom did great. She was really just cool and happy. She had a good time. Mm-hmm. She was supportive.
Yeah. And so did Matt's mom. She helped out a lot.
Yeah, too. And everybody, all the players, I just thought were really great. There's just nothing.
Good vibes all around, honestly.
Good vibes all around, man. And then you had the dancing fool of a Reverend out there. I hit just about everybody on the dance floor.
You were getting picked up by one of my coworkers and spun around. And
a female.
Yes, yeah. But yeah, you were dancing the whole night, and you had a big smile on your face, which I think is really good for you too.
Yeah, I needed to let loose. Yeah, it was like
just
the
everything,
happiest event I've had in a really long time.
And you were saying that you had some time to reflect before the actual party and stuff, and just kind of...
Yeah, because doing it without Terry, and I had a lot of time because I didn't do hair and makeup. So I just spent a lot of time just thinking over how my life has changed in the last year or two, and
Nice views to appreciate.
and I was up on the balcony on the 8th floor,
Yeah.
looking out and the trees and everything, practicing my sermon, which wasn't really a sermon, but it was a ceremony. And just enjoy. I mean, that was like a vacation for me, which is sad because I hadn't been away or in a hotel for 25 years. But now, next week, I'm going to Arkansas.
Nice.
I'm really branching out. I'm driving there, but...
So that was a good start then to your...
Itasca was a good start.
Itasca.
Now I feel up for Arkansas.
That's a big jump, but okay. Yeah. From like 40 minutes to
9
hours. Are you driving?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're
Nice.
just going to go straight through, me and Ty and Claire.
Okay. That'd be fun.
So...
That'd be great. But, so yeah, the wedding was great. Something I really enjoyed from it was the stories. I mean, like, I got to talk to people afterwards and hear how their night was, kind of thing. And I found out that some people from like different parts of my life made friends with each other, and I was like, I love this. This is so great. I think was really cool to be able to see these people and also see that the people that I get along with and care about from different parts of my life actually kind of like each other too.
Yeah, everybody.
Nice.
There was no bad energy there. There was no like, oh, I don't like that person or stay away from that person.
Right.
Everyone just got along. In fact, we were commenting on how lack of negative drama there was. It was kind of like,
wanted a little juice or something,
It's a little. This is what it's like to be in a normal family. Okay, we get it.
Yeah. And so, I mean, I went on my honeymoon right afterwards, the Monday night afterwards, and we went to Madeira Island in Portugal, and it was beautiful, very unique. They had a good combination of adventure, relaxation, and just privacy. Like, it was just a really
Quiet
good trip.
time and time together. And then when you sent the picture, or somebody sent me a picture of you at the top of that mountain with an ATV.
Yeah.
Who took that picture? Was it the driver of the ATV?
It was, yeah, I think so.
Okay.
He was taking pictures of us.
Yeah.
Everything, yeah.
Were there any other people up there? Just you guys?
It was us and another couple,
Okay.
and then the guides that took us around.
Okay.
The other couple got a flat tire when we were on top of the mountain.
Ooh.
Which is a little scary, yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm so glad, because I was the one driving that whole time. I'm so glad that didn't happen. And because when you're going on these tight, windy roads on top of a mountain, like, you don't want to get pretty much the whole time.
You drove the ATV?
Yeah.
They let you do that?
Of course.
I would think you would drive right off the edge.
This
Not you,
is-
but anybody.
This is Portugal. This is not the, maybe
true.
in the States it's a little different.
That's true,
Because I think
yeah.
you need to have like a license
I would
for it
think
and stuff.
so. God,
At least
that's
according to
scary.
our northern relatives, you have to have a license for an ATV or something like that.
Okay.
But yeah, it's we got a flat tire, and then, so that was a little detour, but it ended up being nice to take some pictures, which is where you probably saw some pictures.
Well,
so.
how did they fix the flat tire?
They
Was
had
there
a spare in one of the things. I think they only had one spare, so the rest of us, we would have been screwed if
Whoa.
it didn't happen.
That's crazy.
But yeah, we also did canyoning, which is where you rappel down a waterfall.
Oh, how big of a waterfall?
Some of them were, they varied in size, but I think the biggest one it seemed like it was about 50 feet, something like that. I mean, it was pretty high, but you felt really secure because you're in a strong harness and you just walk down the waterfall. That's kind of interesting. Matt and I both said, and he's afraid of heights, said that was our favorite activity. Because it was such a good combination of hiking. We had to hike up the mountain, and then we basically climbed down. And some of the waterfalls were small, and they were where you could just like jump into the pool of water at the bottom, and
Like the bunny slope in skiing.
yeah, like you could just literally just jump in, and the water's deep enough so that it'll catch you. And there was other ones where it was like a natural water slide, and you just slide down, kind of. Which was also really fun.
I could do that one, I think.
Yeah. No, it was actually easier than it seemed, and it was really fun.
I'm afraid of heights too, so if Matt could do it, maybe I could do something like that.
Yeah, he's terrified of heights.
Really? Did he get that butterfly stomach thing or no?
I think he was nervous, but once we did the first one, everyone felt confident.
Okay.
I actually went first.
Oh, you did. You're
Yeah.
such a leader.
Of course I am.
Driving and
This is me in my element. Is
That's
like
true.
thrill seeking and
Anything
stuff.
water and
Water and thrill seeking, yeah.
and rush. Yeah, water
Yeah.
and rush.
So no, it was really great. We got to experience their culture, I feel like, as much as we could for 2 weeks, and we had a really great time.
And then everybody's like,
everything was smooth.
Where's the Katie story?
Everything was smooth. We got home from a very long travel day late on like Friday night about 3 weeks ago. And, as of recording. And the next day, after we were just trying to stay awake because we were jet lagged and we are still adjusting to their time and stuff. We went shopping, we did some like errands and stuff, but I still had all this time in the day. It was like 4:00 where I was like, I need
to stay awake.
I need to like stay awake to adjust my time, and if I sit down, I will fall asleep.
Okay.
And I just decided to do, for some reason, some light gardening.
Which is so you.
And by lights, I meant I used like power tools, and I was using an electric hedge trimmer. And my reasoning is, actually it goes along with Halloween, so this could be our Halloween story. I was like so after the wedding, I'm gonna become a total basic bitch and like be all about fall and decorations and all this stuff. And I was like, this is me. This is what's gonna happen. And that was my plan. Okay,
And that's why we started trimming hedges.
Let me get to it.
Okay.
So that was my goal, to be this like. Just get into the spirit of fall, and it was kind of a way to look forward to post-wedding stuff, is like decorating the house and making it feel homey in that way. And we ended up getting this pumpkin while we were out, this light up pumpkin that you put in your window.
Okay.
And I put it in the window, and I realized that the cord was too short, it was too low.
And the hedges were in the way.
So
ding, ding, ding.
I didn't have an extension cord.
Okay.
So I was like, might as well just, instead of just going to Home Depot and getting an extension cord, might as well trim the hedges.
With the power tool when you're jet lagged.
Yes. And, okay, I did it. And here's where the issue came in. And I wasn't paying attention. And I kind of, when I was holding one-handed the trimmer down like this to do the sides, I tried to reach around to grab the guard, and I missed the guard, and instead my finger caught in the hedge trimmer. It was like a bloop, and then done. It was like a split second, and it was crazy because I did not. You can see my Band-Aid right now. It looks a lot more mild than what it did a few weeks ago.
Yeah, she had a big, huge thing on and wrapped.
I did.
And
It was
stitches and yeah.
It was splinted, and I got 7 stitches and everything. But I looked down, and because I didn't feel it. It just felt like a thud.
Yeah.
And I looked down, and I'm bleeding like crazy, like the dark oozing blood, and
You just go like this, like.
First I sprinted in.
Did you clamp
grabbed a towel and then went like this.
Oh, okay.
And was holding it down because I know that I was like, I gotta stop this bleeding before anything else. And I was just trying to like keep immediate pressure on it, even though I was freaking out, and I was like, I can't feel it. It's just terrified.
Yeah.
And I was screaming for Matt, who was upstairs building a cabinet we had just bought. And he had the TV on and upstairs and everything, and he thought I was singing, so it didn't come down for probably 3 minutes or something like that, which is a long time when you're sitting there holding your bleeding hand. It was probably 2 minutes or something, but I just kept screaming, and I was at the point where I was about to go run up to him. But then he came down, and he's like, "What's happening?"
I thought you were singing.
Yeah, and then he saw unfortunately, he saw the blood on the floor first, and then said, "Oh shit!" And then he's like, "What did you do?" And I showed him, and he kind of, I thought he was gonna say like, "Oh, it's fine" or something, and he's like, "Let's go to the ER right now." Now.
Okay, yeah, because you didn't know how bad it was because you just saw the blood, and then.
And I know he has experience with cutting fingers with being a chef. Yes. So
okay.
I thought he was just gonna be like, "Oh no, it's fine," and he's like, "No, we should go to the ER." And
So did you drip all the way into the house?
yeah, he had to clean it up afterwards, which
Okay,
was
crime scene. Huh?
nice of him, but also, I mean, hey, we're married now, so now you gotta. What is it, for better or for worse?
and sickness and health.
Yeah, finally you get to see the sickness right away, you know. Um,
And then didn't they ask right away about COVID, like at the hospital, or did they just have you take a seat?
they well, they put a mask on me first because I
Oh.
run in there. I'm obviously not wearing a mask because
Yeah.
I'm like stressed and stuff. And then they're like, they asked all my information, and then they're like, okay, have a seat. Fortunately, it wasn't a busy night, so we were able to get in relatively quick and stuff. But it's still pretty humbling when you're, bleeding like crazy and they tell you to go take a seat.
I know, you're like, really?
Like, hey, it's happening right now. This didn't happen weeks ago or whatever. It's happening right this second, but it's not the most dire emergency, so it makes sense.
So when the doctor saw it, did he just clean it out and then stitch it?
They cleaned it out, and then I guess they had to treat another patient because then they were gone for 20, 30 minutes. It was just sitting on the table open.
Ew, was it done bleeding?
It was not coming out like that still, but it was still an open wound. So yeah, then they came in and stitched me up. I watched pretty much the whole thing, except for when they said we have to see if there's bone. So when they were like searching for the bone or whatever, that's when I looked away because I was like, I don't want to see my bone. Like that doesn't sound appealing to me. I think I would pass out. But
you can't straighten it, right?
yeah, so I'll hold this up. It's so much straighter than it used to be, and I'm working on the flexibility of it, but you guys can kind of see the difference here.
And you can't bend it as far either, right?
Yeah, and then
Not even because of the Band-Aid, right?
if I really think about it, I can get it to about here.
Does that hurt?
Yeah, it's stiff. And then it kind of triggers back up, like the trigger finger or whatever.
Okay.
But yeah, so that's the beginning of my marriage, is going to the ER room
So romantic.
and getting stitches. Yes,
But it kept you awake.
I did stay awake, and I was on a regular schedule after that, which is crazy.
Good job.
I was so exhausted, I think, from the trauma and also the travel.
And the
once we got back.
Yeah, and then the adrenaline, and then the letdown after, and then you got your jet lag still.
Yeah, I fell right asleep, which was like 8:00 when we got home.
And then did they give you pain medication?
No.
So, just
Which is fine. I
Natural
wasn't
fatigue.
in pain. It was stiff and swollen. So, but something that I guess I would want to bring up is, because I had a bunch of doctor's visits for this, after this happened, and there was one point, when it was a couple days afterwards, I think it was my first doctor's appointment, where they had to obviously inspect it and then rewrap it, like put it back in the bandage and the splint and all that stuff. And it was still very fresh at that point, and I think kind of exposed. And when she tried to press on it with the bandage very gently, it definitely hit like an exposed nerve.
ugh.
And I learned, you always hear the expression of, you like, oh, you hit a nerve, but I've always heard it in like a metaphorical sense. And I'd never really experienced raw nerve pain like that before.
Ooh,
And
ow.
it was exactly what people say it is, where it's like it shoots up and down your arm. But that wasn't, and I was expecting that, I think, to the physical part of it, but the mental side of it, I was not expecting at all. Like it as soon as that touched, I felt the physical pain, and then my whole mind had this like enormous sadness and like kind of a little bit of like shame, almost like I was bringing myself back into the moment that it happened, where I was like so mad at myself for doing that. And the person, the nurse, even said, "Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry." It obviously startled her because I yanked my hand back, and I couldn't even like formulate words back to her because I was so emotionally shocked, I guess. And
Well,
I didn't
maybe-
know that would be a thing.
Maybe it's the first time it really hit you about how bad it could have been, and really kind of how bad it was, but it could have like severed that nerve. Maybe it was just the first time in general that it hit you,
It's possible. I think that's just how like strong your nerves are.
and that it actually affects your emotions too.
Yeah. Yeah, because
Wow.
when you're in that much pain, it eventually transfers into emotional pain, you know?
That's true. And
So-
then you're mad at yourself because you're like, I did this,
Right.
even though it was an accident, but you know what I mean? Like, you didn't do it on purpose.
Yeah. And it was, I mean, I just was so shocked by that. I told my therapist about it, and I told her that I felt shame about it, and she kind of was explaining shame to be, or what is it? Shame is more like you as a person, and guilt is how you feel about a certain act. And so I was like,
But
well, maybe
shame is just like who you are
who
at
you
the
are as a
core.
person, yeah. And I originally was like, oh yeah, then maybe it's guilt. Then I'm feeling guilt towards myself or whatever. But now that I'm looking at it, I'm like, I think it was a little bit of shame because it's not my first time of not being like aware.
And
You know what I mean?
and having things happen to you because of that.
Yeah, this is the most severe that I would say anyway. But I think it's just that's what I was actually feeling in that moment was shame.
And you've actually come so far away from that too. Like,
Yeah.
remember when you dropped the potato salad or whatever?
Yeah,
Didn't you feel kind of shame then? Because
I did. Yeah,
you're like, I'm just always a fuck up,
yeah.
But then you had come so far prior to the potato salad incident.
Right, because I'm trying so hard to not be that, and then when I am, I'm like, God, that sucks.
Yeah,
And I
I can understand that. Because, I mean, Albrecht, Terry always told me Albrecht with a knife is a really dangerous thing. And I'm not talking like your dad kind of thing, but like you and me are accident prone.
yeah,
And I think a lot of it does have to do with not paying attention or maybe trying to do too much.
right. This
But
was
yeah, but you get like, why don't other people do this? Like, I don't really hear of too many people that do that. I'm sure it
right.
happens, but I don't hear of it. And
Yeah.
you really could have cut your finger off, and there's the PTSD, if you ask me, because
Oh, I
that.
could-
I mean, everybody keeps saying to you, "You could have cut your finger off." You're like, I know, I was
could've.
there,
I could have. Yeah.
and you would have to go looking for it.
Oh wow, I can't even. I can't even go there. Yeah.
Am I helping as the Reverend Mary?
No, it doesn't upset me, but I'm like trying to picture that. I'm like, yeah, that would be
Oh.
terrible.
Oh,
Like
can
I
you
was lucky.
imagine?
I was lucky that didn't happen. I think it just nicked it.
Yeah.
Which,
Ooh, it still hurt though.
yeah, it's still, messed up. My finger is going to take a long time to recover, and there might be things that I have to do differently.
So then you go back to work from your wedding, and you're like, "Hi,"
Everyone's asking me about my wedding, and they're all excited, and I'm like, it was great.
and
then their mouths just drop. Yeah, the typing.
then you're
at
like
the
trying to
computer
work and
looked like
catch up.
this. And I couldn't even move. This was another thing in the beginning because your fingers are so like in sync with each other. I couldn't move these other fingers without kind of flexing the other one, and that would that would hurt a lot. So I had to train myself to like get these fingers to move without this one, and it took a long time. It's still going to be a long time. So.
It's kind of ugly too. Like, she showed pictures to me.
Perfect
and-
for Halloween.
And it was like a gory, zigzag kind of.
Yeah, it's a jagged cut. I'll tell you what.
It does go good with Halloween.
I know. I should incorporate it into a costume this year.
Yeah, or maybe you could like
I am the scarred pumpkin.
draw it on all your fingers or something, and
Yeah, I could get some like the clay or whatever they use to like make prosthetics.
There you go.
I could do something like that. But yeah, so that's kind of what I've
Are
been
you doing something for Halloween?
doing. We have an annual tradition to watch a horror movie with our good friends Lisa and Eric. So we usually do that right around Halloween.
Ooh,
Yeah.
I know how that is for you.
Yeah, but we just we make it into a night, and it's funny. We end up making fun of the movies most of the time. And
Okay,
ends up being okay.
if you're not forced to do it as a kid.
Right. Yeah. So it's it'll be good. And obviously hanging out with all of our listeners and watchers because today is Halloween, right?
Right, when yes, right. Can't you tell? Reverend Mary.
But it's a very nice shade of purple.
Reverend Mary and the Pumpkin. We can call it that.
Reverend Mary and the Pumpkin.
Well, I think this is a color that a lot of priests wear.
It's very godlike.
Cardinals, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. I should have worn this to your wedding.
I mean, yeah, you should have from this angle in the camera, because I'm looking into our little thing. It looks like I'm a pumpkin and you're like a grape. I wonder if it looks like that on camera. Like we're going with the edible costumes.
I don't even know if they can even see the collar. Oh yeah, they can.
We can always zoom in on it too, but it looks like we are both in man-made costumes, you know.
Your stem is drooping. Is it supposed to do that? Or is that a stem? What is that thing?
It's just a decorative.
Oh, it's not.
Oh, it's part of the stem, I guess. But
Yeah, where's the stem? Did you have a hat? That's
yeah,
what you had.
I
Okay.
couldn't find that.
And plus, I think that's what was drooping. The handle.
Mm-hmm.
Last year was like, whoop.
Yeah. I couldn't find that, and I'm wearing this because I saw some people on social media. Shout out to Matt, Beck, and Jade saying that I should bring back the pumpkin.
Because it was, I think maybe it was last year. I can't remember.
When we first did this, it was when we had our old setup, so it was a few years ago when I wore this.
You know, we've been at this for over 3 years. In September, it turned, No More Secrets turned 3. And we have a great season ahead of us. This is season 7. And
Holy shit, is it?
And yeah, start of season 7. And we've got a lot of plans. And now that you're back and you don't have to worry about planning a wedding and all that, we can actually do different things, put more creativity into it, and just keep getting more and more guests and more ideas. We just had a really good session with somebody that will air after this one.
Yeah, you'll see next week.
Yeah, so next week, yeah. So Katie has to go pumpkin patch. Yeah,
I have to go hang out with my family in the
gonna,
pumpkin patch.
Are you gonna wear that?
Should I?
I think it would be funny.
I heard that they were gathering all the pumpkins for the patch, you know. I could. It would be in the spirit of
You
things.
could be like, hey, mama, daddy?
Yeah.
Maybe not daddy. Cousin?
That reminds me, when I was a camp counselor as Tater Tot.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
Have I told you about the day that they decided to make tater tot casserole for lunch?
No.
So so when I was a camp counselor, my camp name was Tater Tot, and it was a great camp name, honestly.
It is.
But there was one time where they made the kitchen chef made a tater tot casserole for lunch for all the kids, and all the kids were like, "Tater tot, we're eating tater tots right now." And I was like, I kind of got real into it. I got really animated back then, and I was like, "You better not be, you know." You're eating my family right now. And then they would make it more obvious, like come up to me like, yummy. And I'm like,
that's so cute.
Not Mama, not Grandma Betty. You know, like, I would just like,
go. Speed it up. Come on.
I made it so dramatic. Like, you guys are killing my family. You know.
Did it come from Cater Potatoes?
Yeah.
And then taters, and then tater tot?
Yeah.
Tater tots?
That was pretty much it, the variation of it.
Okay.
Yeah, so Tots was another common nickname. Or if I was wet, it would be like Slippery Tots. Or if it was, I think if it was like hot or like sunburned or something, it'd be like Toasty Tots. Or like, there was just a lot of variations. Sweet Tots was one of them.
Yeah, sweet tot.
Yeah, so
it's like an East Coast sweet tart.
a little bit. Hot toddy, like the drink.
Whoa.
Yeah, no, it was
called a hot toddy. I don't know about that.
that was a little weird, I guess, being at a camp with kids, but yeah, so it was good memories, I think.
Yeah, that's a good one. You're eating my family.
Oh my gosh, the kids ate that up too.
I bet.
Yeah, that's the trick to working with kids. You just kind of you get into it as if you were one of them, you know.
Yeah, you're good at that.
And then they like it, and then they like you.
Let's go back to your singing. Why did Matt think you were singing?
I don't know. I think I have a better voice than him, but
Maybe because you have the TV on and stuff, and sometimes when you sing like kind of joyous and loud, you thought maybe you were belting out like the chorus or something.
He said that he didn't hear actual like he just heard the sound.
Okay.
Or like my voice projecting.
So you thought you
more.
were singing.
Well, I think I can carry a tune. It's not like, you know, Broadway star or anything.
Yeah, you can.
But I think I can
You can have a really nice voice.
do okay.
I don't think you're screaming in pain or in trauma, though, when you're singing.
Well, to be fair, Matt does listen to screamo music, so that might be why he confused it.
Plus, he was upstairs with the TV on.
Yes.
So, yeah, that makes sense.
His version of singing probably does sound like screaming.
Is that, well, then that's even more funny.
Yeah, no, it's all gonna work out. My finger will be okay. And
But
other
today,
than that, it's
she
been
was
really happy.
setting the camera up, and there's a little fan that we have on the camera so it doesn't shut off from getting overheated. And it almost hit your other finger, right?
Yeah, I reached out to turn it on, and then I ended up sticking my hand or turn it somewhere, like to direct it, and ended up putting my finger in the blade again, or like in the spinning blades. This is just plastic, so it's not this. I'm obviously fine, but it was a
reaction.
reminder. Yeah, like
And
I jolted back.
She jumped and, and
Yeah.
yeah.
It was, I guess I just put my hand into moving things all the time.
Well, and then our producer, Travis, broke his ankle. And so he was here in a boot and in like a scooter.
He was having me help him with stuff, and I'm like, he can't use his feet. He can't move around and stuff, and I can't use my hands.
So he's like limping and trying to, and then you're like jumping and screaming and,
Yeah, it was pretty chaotic, not gonna lie.
Yeah. So, but we pulled it off again.
We did.
All right.
So, make sure to follow us, subscribe to us, and check out our Patreon. Right?
Right.
Did I nail everything?
You did.
I'm on top of my game this year.
Yeah, ditto.
Or this
this season.
Yeah.
1 out of 1.
Right, yeah. Nailed it.
Speaking of nailed it, she nailed her first dance. That was a lot of spins and a lot of stuff. And you nailed it. It was awesome. You and Matt.
I heard it was popular. People liked it.
Oh my God, it was so good. It was, even the DJs, that was fantastic.
Yeah.
I've never seen as good a first dance as that, he said. And he's been a DJ for a long time.
Yeah. I guess that was his last show.
Yeah. What a way to go out.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a great time. I'm so glad that I did it. I'm so glad that I accomplished it, and now I can just move forward.
We're never doing this again because you're married once.
Yes. I am married once, for sure. I'm never planning a wedding again.
Not mine, not anybody else's.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for listening, everybody. Until next time, I hope you enjoyed our costumes. They were well thought out.
Yeah, we put a lot of time into it.
Took like 3 minutes for me to do this.
Yes.
Took you 3 seconds. Just put that on.
Yep. Dig it out of my closet.
Put it on.
Make sure it's not too wrinkled. Okay, good to go.
All right.
So see you next time. Bye.
Go in peace. Serve the Lord.
Pumpkin, pumpkin, pumpkin. What sound does a pumpkin make?
You do the monster mash.
Pumpkin. Pumpkin pie.
Bye-bye. I'm going to take my whiny dog out.